Captain Emily Lawson lay perfectly still inside the hide she had painstakingly constructed from broken stone and rubble at the base of a crumbling minaret in Afghanistan. The early morning light stretched pale and thin across Highway 1, painting the desert plain in muted shades of gold and amber as the sun climbed slowly above the horizon. Dust lifted from the road in lazy spirals, stirred by a faint breeze that whispered through the valley and carried the low, distant rumble of an armored convoy making its cautious way toward the danger zone. Emily's world had narrowed to the circle of glass in her scope, every breath measured, every heartbeat accounted for, as she scanned for movement that might reveal the presence of a known enemy sniper who had killed 6 soldiers in the past 2 weeks. Her Barrett M82A1 rested steady against sandbags, bipod braced, the cold steel balanced like an extension of her body. She adjusted for wind drift, heat shimmer rising off the sun-baked plain, and the subtle incline of the terrain between her position and the convoy's path. Each calculation had been made hundreds of times in her notebook, now folded beneath her arm. But she memorized them all, and yet carried the pages as a ritual, a grounding anchor in the tension of the moment. She noted the slight flicker of a shadow across the crumbling walls, the glint of sunlight off a distant window, and her pulse remained, even as her eye tracked the scene with meticulous precision. The enemy had chosen his position with care, camouflage and concealment designed to blend perfectly into the wreckage. But Emily anticipated his methods. She exhaled slowly, letting the rhythm of her breath sync with the quiet of the valley, and waited. Time stretched. Each second, a potential mistake. Each movement, a signal to an enemy trained to exploit hesitation. The convoy's armored vehicles rolled slowly along the road, unaware of the invisible struggle unfolding above them. Emily's discipline was absolute. Her presence, a ghostly constant in the ruined landscape. The tension was a tangible thing, pressing against her cheek as she aligned her crosshairs, adjusting minutely for every variable, ready to act the instant the opportunity appeared. Her patience, honed through years of training and countless missions, was her greatest weapon. In this moment, every decision carried the weight of life and death, and she held herself perfectly still, blending seamlessly into stone and shadow, the calm eye of a storm waiting to strike with precision. The stakes were clear, the danger immense, and through it all, Emily's focus never wavered as she prepared for the shot that could protect the convoy and mark another chapter in the quiet legend she had built through patience, skill, and unwavering determination. Captain Emily Lawson steadied herself behind her Barrett M82A1, the heavy rifle resting solidly on a set of sandbags she had arranged with careful precision the night before. Her scope was aligned, and she adjusted minutely for the wind drifting across the plain, the faint shimmer of heat rising from the sun-baked earth, and the exact distance to the convoy below. Laminated dope cards lay tucked into her vest, and a folded field notebook under her arm contained precise calculations she had memorized, but kept close for reassurance. Through her scope, she observed the enemy sniper, a Taliban marksman armed with a Dragunov SVD. As he cycled the bolt with practiced efficiency and checked his own sight lines, every angle of his positioning, the symmetry of the rubble he used for cover, and the subtle motion of his breathing were recorded in her mind. Emily anticipated his first shot and noted how close it came to her cheek, a reminder that the slightest lapse could be fatal. She remained completely still, her finger poised lightly on the trigger, her body aligned with the rifle. Every micro-adjustment accounted for. When the moment came, she exhaled slowly, synchronized her heartbeat with the rhythm of the wind, and squeezed the trigger with measured control. The rifle roared, its recoil pressing deep into her shoulder, and the .50 caliber round cut across the distance with uncanny precision, striking the target with finality. The enemy's head snapped back, and his weapon clattered to the ground. Emily immediately worked the bolt, chambering another round in case additional threats emerged. Scanning the compound for movement with unwavering focus. Each action she took, cycling the bolt, maintaining the hold, tracking potential secondary targets, was executed with the calm discipline of a sniper trained to operate under extreme pressure. The valley around her remained eerily quiet, the convoy oblivious to how close it had come to disaster, and Emily allowed herself only a momentary exhalation before resuming observation. Her patience, preparation, and detailed understanding of ballistics, wind drift, and enemy behavior combined to turn a dangerous encounter into a decisive victory, a testament to skill honed over countless hours in training and field operations. In that precise, tense interval, she embodied the full discipline and professionalism of a U.S. Army sniper, blending patience with lethal accuracy to neutralize the threat while safeguarding those below. Every motion, every calculation, every heartbeat had been deliberate, and the success of the engagement rested entirely on her meticulous focus and unwavering calm. Captain Emily Lawson stepped off the transport and into the stark, cold air of forward operating base Lightning, a sharp contrast to the sun-baked dust and heat of the Afghan plains she had just left. The recycled air inside the base carried a faint metallic tang, and the hum of generators and distant chatter filled the space with a mechanical calm. She walked with measured steps to the debriefing room, uniform still streaked with dust, the scent of cordite faintly clinging to her sleeves from the engagement minutes earlier. Colonel Thomas Hayes waited, reviewing a tactical map on the wall covered in red pins, marking past sniper engagements. Emily took her seat across from him and began methodically recounting her actions, describing in precise detail her movement through false hides, the hours spent settling into position, and the disciplined patience she maintained while observing the enemy. Aides listened, occasionally nodding, then revealed the severity of the situation. The sniper she had just neutralized, Dmitry Vulov, was a former Spetsnaz operative and a professional mercenary. Emily considered the implications, understanding that the near miss she had experienced was deliberate, not accidental. Highlighting the extreme skill and intent of her opponent, she explained the timing of her shots, the calculations she had made for wind, range, and terrain, and how she had accounted for variables that could have turned deadly. The discussion shifted to analyzing patterns of enemy behavior, tactical considerations for future operations, and potential threats from additional highly trained personnel. Every word she spoke reflected both calm and precision. Embodying the professionalism expected of a U.S. Army sniper, the tension of the encounter lingered in the room, a quiet acknowledgement of the danger she had faced and the level of skill required to survive against a sniper of Vulov's caliber. By the end of the debrief, it was clear that her meticulous preparation, disciplina, and understanding of tactical operations had ensured her survival and secured a successful engagement, setting the tone for all missions to come. Captain Emily Lawson moved silently through the jagged ridges of the Korengal Valley, alongside Staff Sergeant Michael Chen, each step deliberate and measured as they navigated the narrow trails that twisted between steep cliffs and rocky outcrops. The night air was cool but heavy, pressing against them with the oppressive weight of the rugged terrain, and every sound a shifting stone, the whisper of wind through pines demanded attention. Their gear was minimal to maintain stealth, radio set to silent mode, and camouflage blended perfectly with the shadows and rubble. Emily carried her Barrett M82A1, the rifle heavy but balanced, her laminated dope cards tucked into her vest, and a wind meter hanging at her side. She calculated firing angles, range, and environmental effects as they approached positions known to be used by enemy snipers. False hides were selected with care, each one offering concealment and multiple escape routes, ensuring that any observation could be conducted without compromise. The pair paused frequently, scanning valleys and ridgelines, noting potential choke points along the convoy's route and anticipating the enemy's likely firing positions. Every movement, from adjusting her scope to observing subtle shifts in shadows, was executed with meticulous precision. Emily and Chen communicated in short, controlled whispers and hand signals, coordinating their positions and observing one another's blind spots, maintaining a constant vigilance that left no room for error. The suspense built with each step, as the knowledge that a single miscalculation could reveal their presence weighed heavily. Despite the tension, Emily's discipline never wavered. Her calculations, patience, and observational skills allowed her to interpret every detail of the terrain, every flicker of movement, and every sound with clarity. This operation demanded teamwork, trust, and expertise, and both snipers moved in complete synchronization. Their actions, a combination of strategy, experience, and anticipation. In the shadows of the Korengal Valley, every decision mattered, and Emily's focus on precision and stealth ensured that they would remain hidden while preparing to neutralize the threats to the coalition convoys below. Captain Emily Lawson spent several days methodically tracking and neutralizing a series of enemy snipers hidden throughout the Korengal Valley, each engagement demanding meticulous observation and flawless execution. From her concealed positions in false hides, she scanned the ridgelines and rocky outcrops, noting subtle shifts in shadows, glints of sunlight on scopes, and the precise placement of enemy camouflage. Each target had its own pattern. Some tested the area with a single round. Others moved constantly to avoid detection, and a few set decoys to lure coalition forces into exposure. Emily adjusted for wind drift, range, and heat shimmer rising off the sun-baked terrain, referencing her laminated dope cards and field notes while her Barrett M82A1 rested steadily on a bipod. She chambered rounds, cycled the bolt, and maintained a perfect hold, every micro-adjustment calculated to ensure first-round accuracy. As she took each shot, the enemy fell silently, their rifles clattering against stone, leaving no trace for the convoy below to see or suspect. The convoys moved through the valley without incident, protected by Emily's vigilance, and each engagement reinforced the psychological edge she held over the enemy. She anticipated repositioning attempts, adjusted for test shots intended to gauge her location, and countered with patience and precision that reflected both training and experience. The tension was constant, the stakes high, and Emily's discipline never faltered. Every calculation, every breath, every movement mattered. She observed patterns, noted escape routes, and predicted likely firing lanes, using the terrain to her advantage while remaining completely hidden. Across the valley, whispers among enemy fighters began circulating about the unseen marksmen who struck with deadly efficiency, elevating her reputation as the ghost. Yet Emily remained focused, her attention fixed on technique, not legend, understanding that the safest course was meticulous action, not haste or bravado. Each sniper engagement was a test of patience and skill, and with each target neutralized, the convoys gained security, the enemy's confidence eroded, and Emily's mastery over the environment and battlefield became undeniable. Her calm, methodical precision and unwavering discipline in high-pressure situations embodied the professionalism expected of a U.S. Army sniper, proving that patience, observation, and tactical foresight could achieve outcomes that brute force alone never could. Captain Emily Lawson arrived at Bagram Airfield and joined Task Force Phoenix, a joint NATO unit assembled to counter a network of highly skilled enemy snipers. The compound was organized and efficient, with soldiers moving with purpose between vehicles, communications equipment, and tactical overlays. Colonel Sarah Martinez, the commanding officer, greeted the team with a clipped nod, her posture radiating authority and command presence. Master Sergeant Jake Morrison, a Marine Scout sniper with years of experience, carried himself with quiet vigilance, his eyes scanning the environment for threats. Staff Sergeant Ashley Chen, a Special Forces operator, demonstrated precision and controlled readiness in every movement. While Technical Sergeant Marcus Williams managed comms and electronics, monitoring satellite feeds and intercepted chatter, Emily observed each member carefully, noting their strengths and how their skills could complement her own as they prepared for coordinated operations. The briefing began with detailed satellite overlays, casualty markers, intelligence dossier, and real-time intercepted communications, all discussed with disciplined focus and precision, encrypted radios, transmitted orders and updates, ensuring operational security as Emily assessed tactical possibilities and synchronized plans with her teammates. She noted positions, coverage zones, and potential vulnerabilities, while planning how to act as both a sniper and a coordinator within the team. The atmosphere was professional, tense, and highly focused, each individual aware that coordination, patience, and accurate execution would determine mission success. Emily's internal analysis confirmed that their combined skills and strategic planning could effectively counter the enemy's precision sniper threat, but only if every detail was respected and executed flawlessly. In the quiet intensity of the briefing room, Emily prepared herself to integrate fully with the team, understanding that her success depended as much on collaboration as it did on individual marksmanship, and that trust, disciplina, and clear communication would be the keys to survival and victory. Captain Emily Lawson studied the incoming intelligence with a steady gaze, analyzing the presence of highly skilled enemy snipers, including Petrov and Klav, both former Spetsnaz operatives now working as mercenaries. She understood immediately that these were not ordinary threats, but professionals whose skill and discipline matched her own. And the stakes demanded a calculated response. Emily devised a high-risk operation to act as bait, intending to exploit the pride and overconfidence of these elite marksmen. She coordinated positions with Task Force Phoenix, assigning Master Sergeant Jake Morrison to cover potential escape routes, Technical Sergeant Marcus Williams to manage surveillance and communications, and Staff Sergeant Ashley Chen to provide reconnaissance and support across key ridgelines. Each element of the plan was meticulously calculated. Emily charted firing lanes, identified choke points along the convoy route, and anticipated enemy movement patterns based on past intelligence and behavioral profiling. The convoy itself was staged to appear vulnerable, drawing the enemy into positions where they could be observed, tracked, and ultimately neutralized. Emily maintained constant awareness of operational security, ensuring encrypted communications and discreet coordination minimized any risk of compromise. Every calculation balanced suspense, precision, and psychological manipulation, exploiting the natural human tendency toward pride and predictability among even the most seasoned combatants. She reviewed terrain features, escape options, and lines of sight with obsessive attention, considering every variable that could influence the engagement, from wind shifts to light angles and enemy camouflage. The psychological tension was palpable. Emily knew that the success of the operation relied on her team's discipline, patience, and flawless execution. As the team moved into position, she maintained focus, constantly assessing their readiness and predicting enemy reactions. Every observation, adjustment, and tactical decision reflected her understanding of sniper warfare at its highest level. In the quiet moments before action, the team's synchronized movements and Emily's strategic oversight embodied the balance between risk and precision required to face such formidable opponents. The operation was a delicate combination of deception, timing, and expert marksmanship, demonstrating that in the Korengal Valley, intelligence and careful planning could control outcomes where raw force alone could not. Captain Emily Lawson moved deliberately through the narrow ravines, each step calculated to avoid detection as she closed the distance to Petrov, a former Spetsnaz sniper. At approximately 200 meters, she remained prone whenever possible, using folds in the terrain and natural cover to conceal her position while continuously observing his scope and potential escape routes. Her Barrett M82A1 rested steadily on a bipod, and she chambered rounds with deliberate care, calculating wind speed, angle, and range with the precision expected of a U.S. Army sniper. Petrov tested the area with subtle movements, adjusting his position in an attempt to detect her, but Emily anticipated his maneuvers, adapting her positioning and focus while maintaining absolute patience. Each moment stretched with tension as they both gauged one another. Silent predators, measuring skill and timing across the rugged valley. The psychological pressure was intense. Knowing that a single miscalculation could be fatal, Emily's breathing remained controlled. Her crosshairs trained on the enemy, while her mind accounted for every environmental factor that could affect the shot. When the final opportunity presented itself, she squeezed the trigger smoothly, the rifle's recoil pressing firmly against her shoulder. And the round struck with lethal accuracy. Petrov's head jerked back, his rifle tumbling from his hands, and the high-stakes duel reached its critical turning point. Emily remained in position, scanning the surroundings for any sign of additional threats, her focus unbroken despite the adrenaline coursing through her. The engagement demonstrated not only the precision and technical skill required in field operations, but also the intense psychological dimension of a sniper duel between two highly trained professionals. Every action, from concealment to observation, chambering, and firing, adhered strictly to authentic U.S. military procedures, reflecting realistic tactics and strategy while heightening suspense and maintaining credibility. In that moment, the balance of patience, calculation, and decisive execution defined the outcome, marking a pivotal turning point in the mission. Captain Emily Lawson and Task Force Phoenix moved deliberately through the Korengal Valley, consolidating the success of their recent operations and ensuring that the threat posed by the Precision Strike Collective had been neutralized. Emily carefully collected intelligence from the defeated enemy, cataloging equipment, notes, and communications that revealed the fractured structure of the mercenary network. Coalition convoys now traveled through the valley with markedly improved safety, their paths clear of the previously unseen dangers. At their forward operating base, Emily meticulously cleaned and maintained her Barrett M82A1, wiping each surface and inspecting the bipod and chamber with the disciplined precision of a seasoned sniper. She organized her field notes and laminated dope cards, reviewing every calculation and adjustment made during the engagements, a ritual that anchored her focus and reinforced her expertise. Reflecting on the strategic impact of her actions, she understood how her patience, precision, and restraint had saved countless lives and shaped the operational environment in the valley. Her team acknowledged her leadership quietly. Offering respect in the professional way, soldiers recognized skill and discipline without excess fanfare. Emily considered the weight of responsibility she carried, knowing that each decision, each carefully executed shot, had consequences far beyond the immediate engagements. She documented post-mission reports, followed proper intelligence protocols, and prepared for debriefing sessions, ensuring that every detail conformed to U.S. military standards. In these quiet, methodical moments, the legend of the Ghost was reinforced not through boastful claims, but through the evidence of lives saved, enemy neutralized, and the unwavering application of skill and strategy. Her calm determination, reflective mindset, and exacting discipline defined her as a sniper and a leader, demonstrating that mastery in the field was measured as much by restraint and preparation as by lethal effectiveness. Each action, from handling intelligence to maintaining equipment, reflected the professionalism and integrity expected of a U.S. Army sniper operating at the highest level. Captain Emily Lawson sat by the window of the transport plane as it lifted from Bagram, watching the mountains recede beneath a haze of dust and cloud. The ridgelines stretched out like fractured teeth against the sky, each shadowed valley and sunlit slope reminding her of the duels she had fought and the calculated decisions that had shaped each engagement. She reflected quietly on the lessons learned, the patience required, and the discipline that had kept her alive and effective as a U.S. Army sniper. Each encounter had reinforced the responsibility she carried, the weight of knowing that every shot had consequences far beyond the immediate target. Suspense, she realized, was never truly over. Vigilance remained a constant companion, and the presence of other hunters in the region was a reminder that the conflict continued beyond what she had directly faced. Her mind cataloged potential threats, strategies for engagement, and contingencies for future operations. Understanding that foresight and preparation were as vital as marksmanship, the legend of the Ghost, built through meticulous calculation, patience, and restraint, was a testament to her skill and professionalism rather than any desire for recognition. She allowed herself a quiet pride in the accomplishments of her team and the lives safeguarded by their collective efforts. Emily thought about the broader scope of the mission, the coordination, the intelligence gathering, and the discipline required to operate in such an unforgiving environment. As the plane climbed, she watched the terrain slip away beneath her, absorbing the scale of the valley, the patterns of ridges, and the strategic possibilities they represented. In that reflective moment, she understood that her role was not just about precision shots, but about measured judgment, restraint, and the enduring vigilance that defined her craft. The mountains disappeared into the horizon, but the lessons, the responsibility, and the legend of the Ghost remained with her, quiet, unwavering, and ready for whatever came next.